Hello YouTube. We won't be talking about supplements today because I personally believe them to be mostly useless for bodybuilding. You don't need to be paying hundreds of dollars in powders and pills to build muscle, it's mostly a scam. However, as a natural bodybuilder myself, there are still substances I consume on a daily basis that I believe to be greatly beneficial for both health and performance. And in this video, I'm going to present two of my favorite magic herbs that I think you guys should also start consuming because you are also going to greatly enjoy their effects. The first one is going to be garlic. We're going to talk about raw garlic today. I've been eating that little guy for 3 years and I greatly enjoy its effects. And then we're also going to talk about ginger. These two together to me have superpowers. If you combine them, you are never going to regret it. So I'm going to try and run you through today all of the things that these things can do for you. I'm going to explain how you should consume them, what you should avoid, mistakes to not make, and how to get into it if you are interested, if you want to start introducing these herbs into your diet. I think that when it comes to supplements, the natural ones are always the best. And these two, I can guarantee you, will provide benefits not only in the gym in terms of performance, but also outside of the gym. And natural bodybuilding is not just getting muscle, it's also health, living a long and happy life. And these two are excellent for that. So let's run through all of the things they can do for you today, starting with the garlic. If you look at the history of garlic, this is not new. This is not a fad. It's not one of these superfoods that pops out of nowhere. It has been consumed for thousands of years by humans. So for example, if you look at the Chinese empires, the Chinese used to consume garlic like no tomorrow. They even used it as medical treatment. It wasn't just a food. The Romans also swore by garlic. They put it everywhere they could because they understood the benefits that came with it. If you are either of Spanish descent or Arabic descent, you have a grandma in your family that has been trying to feed you garlic ever since you were a kid because apparently it's good for everything, for the flu, for your manhood, whatever. The good news is that all of this has been backed up by science now. We have a ton of studies that prove that garlic has a ton of benefits. The first one being the vitamin and mineral profile of garlic. It is loaded with zinc, potassium, magnesium, vitamin C, vitamin K, and allicin. Allicin is the special compound, it's a sulfur-based compound that garlic produces when you cut it. As a defense mechanism, the plant produces this oily substance that gives the smell of garlic, but also once it enters your digestive tract, is going to give you all of these great things that come with garlic. The first one being immune system. It provides a great boost to your immune system. Many people find that when they eat garlic, they get sick less often. And even when they do get sick, the sickness is not as severe. It doesn't last as long. The symptoms are reduced. This is great for bodybuilders because this means that you won't be skipping workouts anymore. How many times are you killing it in the gym, you're getting PRs left and right, then you get the flu. Now you have to sit out, you lose weight, you lose water, and you're tired, you come back, and now you regressed on your lifts. That's a bitch. You can actually prevent that if you eat garlic. Then we have blood pressure. Blood pressure is a killer in men. Keep in mind that the number one reason for death in the West is heart attacks. It's heart problems. This can help alleviate that issue. It has been shown, and it's now being used by doctors, that consuming garlic supplements help reduce blood pressure naturally without having to take man-made drugs. So why not do it? Unless you're someone who has naturally low blood pressure, you can never ever suffer from something that is going to lower it naturally. It is done again through allicin. Allicin is going to run through your system and it's going to keep your arteries supple. A big issue in men that get older is that our arteries get hardened, and that actually has a name. It's called arteriosclerosis. The pronunciation is terrible. We say l'arthrose en plaques in French, which is a condition that prevents your blood from flowing. And even though you might be young right now and it means nothing to you, keep in mind that the less your blood can flow, the less nutrients can go into the muscle, the shittier your recovery is. So even if you're a young buck, it's a good idea to start young with the garlic. We also have to talk about cholesterol. I know that many people don't believe cholesterol to be bad. I don't really care what you believe. What the science says is that garlic has the power to lower LDL cholesterol, and HDL cholesterol can stay high, meaning that It lowers the bad cholesterol and it keeps the good cholesterol intact. So again, why not do it? It's right there, especially if you're the type who eats a lot of animal products, a lot of eggs. Eat your garlic on the side. You might actually help prevent something that down the line could lead to an early death. It's always a good idea. And talking about things that can help prevent, it also works as an antibiotic. Garlic has antibiotic properties, and this is going to be relevant when it starts entering your gut because it's going to get rid of all of the bad bacteria. If you are someone who struggled with fungi growth in your gut or candida in your gut, garlic has been shown to be a killer for candida. It gets rid of it like no one's business, again, without having to actually consume man-made antibiotics that have a tendency to kill all of the bacteria. It wipes out your gut flora, and now you have to rebuild it. You feel sick, you lose strength in the gym, you lose performance. Garlic only targets the bad bacteria and it keeps the beneficial bacteria alive. How do I know that? One, we have studies proving that. Two, I've been eating that for the past 2 years non-stop. I've had zero stomach issues whatsoever, and all sorts of parasites I've never had to deal with. That's also a great thing that garlic is going to do for you. Then there's the less quote-unquote interesting things that right now you're young so you don't care about, but it helps prevent Alzheimer's disease, and it also is a killer of cancer cells. Cancer proliferation and the multiplication of the cell has been shown to be greatly damaged by the consumption of raw garlic. Then there's also the environment around you, right? We talk a lot right now about microplastics, about chemicals in the foods, things that apparently are going to damage your ability to build muscle. Most of that, in my opinion, is overblown. It's just excuses given by men who struggle to build muscle so that they can jump on TRT. But some of it is also true. This is why you should filter your water using a carbon-based filter, and you should eat raw garlic because raw garlic detoxes the body. Now, when you say detox, of course, a lot of people are going to think, well, that's bullshit. Your body detoxes. We have organs to detox. You're correct. But there are certain things like chemicals or radiation that our organs struggle to filter. And when they do filter it, it damages them. Garlic takes care of that. It runs through the digestive tract and it pulls with it all of that garbage. Once again, I'm not citing any studies today, but if you're curious, you can easily Google all of that and you'll find all of the information available online. And then the last beneficial aspect of garlic, and most likely the one that is going to be the most interesting to you watching, is the performance boost that it provides in the gym. Raw garlic, as it is, was actually the very first performance enhancing substance consumed by athletes throughout history. The ancient Greek athletes, for example, would eat raw garlic before competitions because they believed it to be a stimulant. I've also found that to be true. Now we're going to move on to the benefit that I found, because this is what the science says. What does my experience say? Well, from experience, I can tell you that the performance boosting aspect is true. Not that this is going to improve your testosterone or just make your muscles bigger. No such thing exists, by the way. Your test boosters and your agdisterone, all of that is just nonsense. It's just a marketing scheme to sell you a product that is useless. But this actually will give you a performance boost in other aspects. For example, the pump. Anyone who has tried raw garlic will tell you that the pumps are insane. It's because garlic is rich in nitric oxide. It allows the blood to flow more freely. It thins the blood. And again, it keeps the arteries open and supple so the blood flow can be extremely powerful. The first time you start raw garlic, you'll eat it for lunch, you'll go get arms, and you'll get a fucking insane pump in the entirety of your arm. It does lessen the more you eat it because you get used to it. But what I find with raw garlic that is so good too is that it's sort of a constant effect. So right now, if I go take a walk or a hike outside for 30 minutes and I come back and I sit down, my quads will be pulsating with the blood. Like I'll feel them almost like a beating heart. That is because my blood flows very easily throughout my body. It's constantly traveling throughout my body, which also means that it feeds nutrients to my muscles constantly, which is great for recovery and also much better than pre-workouts. Many pre-workouts, they hit you hard, but then they taper down and then you crash. Garlic, it's a stimulant effect that I find works throughout the day. It's evenly spread because it's through digestion. So it enters the system with a much more consistent basis. It's also much cheaper and it's healthier than pre-workouts because it's not loaded with caffeine and with artificial flavors. The heightened mood of garlic is what I particularly really like. I think that the Greeks were onto something because calling it a stimulant is correct. If you are a bit tired, eat some raw garlic and you'll find your energy skyrocket. And once again, it won't be just volatile energy like caffeine. It's not just borrowed energy that then disappears and makes you crash. It's sustained and it feels really good. It feels balanced. It's throughout the day. Now we have to move to the downsides. So there's not that many downsides as long as you're not an idiot about it. Please do not do like the boogs and eat an entire bulb. No one needs a full bulb. You need 1 or 2 cloves. More than that, and you're just going to puke it out, and then it has no effect, right? Keep in mind that you have to actually digest the garlic for it to have any effect. But the things that you will find are actually quite annoying with garlic is that, one, you smell. Your breath is going to smell, and even brushing it won't stop it because it's from your digestive tract. So it might be a problem. And on top of that, it's not just your mouth. You smell throughout your entire body, right? You are going to sweat garlic. Your sweat is going to smell like garlic, which is not super attractive. It can also make you gassy. So if you struggle to digest it, you will fart and it will smell bad. It will hurt your stomach and you can get heartburn. There are ways to mitigate all of that, and I'm going to explain exactly why. But there are certain people that across the board cannot digest garlic. Maybe that's you, and if that's the case, that sucks. Now, if you're not in that category, how should you eat garlic and how much should you eat? I think that everyone should start with only 1/2 of 1 clove. So do not go eating more than just this. This is already a jumbo one, right? It's big. Eat half of this, okay? Don't try to be a hero and eat too much because now you're not going to get any benefits. You need food with it, okay? Don't go eating that on an empty stomach. Again, people always like to go overboard when something is good. So garlic is great, and then they'll say, oh, eat it raw on an empty stomach. That's stupid. It's not going to provide you with any additional benefit. You should always eat it with a meal. You start with 2 times a week. No need to be overzealous. Don't eat more than that. And you're going to build up tolerance. And how much should you be eating at the end of the road? I think 1 to 2 cloves every other day is already great. Again, don't try to eat more. As I said, I eat a bulb in 4 days. So I eat half of the bulb and the other half 2 days, 2 days. But it's because, one, I can digest it very easily. And 2, I like the taste. It's not really for the benefit. It's just that at this point, I want that amount in my food because I love the burn. You're going to get used to the burn eventually, and you might start to enjoy it. So if that's the case, you can eat more, but never try to eat 1 bulb in a sitting. That's just completely idiotic. On top of that, most of the studies show that you get the full benefits of allicin from 1 clove, so 1 clove every 24 hours. So 1 clove a day, most studies have shown maximize the benefits you're going to receive. You don't have to actually eat more. When it comes to the timing, try to eat it at lunch. Why? If you eat it before going to bed, you're going to lay down and you might get heartburn because it's going to start flowing back into your throat. So this is also something that we want to avoid. At lunch, yes, it will make you stinky, but you'll also get the benefits if you're the type that trains at night. You will feel the full effect of the garlic at night. For the way to prepare garlic, it's very simple. First and foremost, eat it raw. Every time I or other people recommend raw garlic, you always have people who try to find a way around that and who say, oh, maybe if I cook it slowly with a slow temperature. No, eat it raw. All of the benefits and the allicin in particular are there when you eat it raw. So don't try to go around it. And the way to cut it is you're going to cut it in thin slices. And what I mean by thin slices is you don't want big chunks, because a big chunk you're going to have to bite into, and then the burn is going to fuck up your relationship with garlic. So you want to slice it thin. Also because you want to break it down, right? The structure of garlic, the more you break it down, the more juice comes out. The more juice comes out, the more benefits you receive. So you want really, really thin slices, makes it easier to swallow, easier to eat. It's going to cover your food, so you get all of the benefits and none of the inconveniences. And then when it comes to the rest time, 60 seconds. Some people say 10 minutes. That's, again, it's just an urban legend. Most of the compounds are created by the plant within 60 seconds because, again, it's a defense mechanism. If the defense mechanism took a whooping 10 minutes, I mean, no animals would be impacted by this. They would just eat the plant and leave. So there's no point for the plant. 60 seconds, and then you can eat it. You get all of the benefits. And that's that. And of course, make sure to chew as much as possible. If you swallow chunks of raw garlic, you're going to get belly hurt because now your digestive enzymes have to do so much more of the work, and the compounds are going to start getting released in your stomach directly, which might be a recipe for disaster. When it comes to picking your garlic, most every store sells garlic, but you want organic garlic. It's already so cheap to start with, don't go even cheaper. To tell if the garlic you're buying is good or bad, there are two ways. The first is to smell it. So I'm going to put my big nose to good use, and you smell here. So you smell the root right there, okay? I don't know if you can see it because the sun, but this is the pointy end, this is the root. It needs to smell like garlic. If it doesn't smell like garlic, it's bad. If you can also crush with your fingers one clove and then smell. The plant should react immediately and it should exude the smell of garlic. If it doesn't, it means that it's either bad, it's too old, or it was taken out of the ground too early. That is one way. And then if you go to a store that packages its garlic so you can smell it, what you can do is the touch test. You're going to take your garlic and you're going to, with your thumb, run it around the garlic and you're going to press on it. If your thumb enters the garlic, if it gives or if it's soft, put it back, it's bad. You want garlic to be hard. It needs to be hard to the touch like wood. Then you know that it's good. Also, you want to avoid this. I took this one on purpose. You see that sprout at the top? This means that the garlic is old. Put it back, it's not going to be as potent. You want your garlic to be as potent as possible. And once you have all of that, it's very easy to find bulbs that are going to be full of juice. When you cut your garlic, you'll know immediately if it's good. One, the smell will hit you, and two, it will exude that oil. This is that good shit, eat it and get the benefits. And that is that for your garlic. So you have all of the information for raw garlic, how to consume, the things you can expect, etc. Now we're going to move to ginger. Ginger I started eating a year and a half ago because I was looking for an additional plant to add to my product consumption. I wanted something that could balance out garlic because I eat garlic every other day. And I settled on ginger. The way I eat it personally is I pickle my ginger. Unlike garlic, eating ginger raw, so cutting it and eating it, is almost impossible. Not impossible, but it's not going to be pleasurable at all because it's not made to be eaten like this. So there are ways to prepare your ginger, and I'm going to show you exactly how to prepare it. But just like garlic, it has been used for centuries, especially by Asian cultures, for its medicinal properties. And here is what the science has to say about ginger in particular. So first off, ginger can be used for weight loss. It has been shown that if you give ginger extracts to obese patients, you see a big reduction in the waist to hip ratio. So essentially, the fatty tissue around their waist shrinks very fast, much faster than if they did not consume it. It also apparently helps with arthritis and joint pain. So if you have joint pain in your knee, in your shoulder, it might help. It has anti-diabetic properties because it improves insulin sensitivity. We're going to get back to it because that is scientific jargon. And some of you guys look at me right now like, bro, I want big biceps. What the fuck is insulin sensitivity even going to do for me? It does much more than you actually think. But again, we'll get back to that. It also prevents heart disease. So just like garlic, it helps with digestion. It has been found that if you eat raw ginger and you have a belly ache, for example, it's going to help the belly ache go away. And it also lowers the risk of cancer and Alzheimer. Now, out of this list, there are a few things that I have noticed myself from eating it for a full year. The first one is the insulin sensitivity. So what is insulin sensitivity? Insulin sensitivity means that once you consume carbohydrates, once you consume sugars, it enters your digestive tract and then your blood. And then it's supposed to go from the blood into the cells, so the organs, the muscles. If you have low insulin sensitivity, the insulin will not push all of that blood sugar into the cells and it will float around your system, which is not good because this is how you become diabetic. If you consume this ginger, this raw ginger, it's going to improve that sensitivity, meaning that once you have a meal, your body is going to do a much better job at shoving all of that into the muscle. You will know if you have good insulin sensitivity by how reactive your body is to carbohydrates. If you take orange juice, for example, and you drink it, or you take a bowl of pasta or white rice and you eat it, something should be happening to your body, and that something should be a pump. As weird as it sounds, If you have a good sensitivity, you will find that your body will utilize these resources almost immediately, which will result in fuller muscles because they will be full with glycogen. This is something that I personally have noticed myself. I'm a big carbs guy, but I used in the past to have my carbs meals and I would feel lethargic, I would feel tired, I would have a brain fog, and I would feel low energy. Ever since I started eating raw ginger, the opposite has happened. Now that I eat rice or pasta, my muscles fill up. It's like my body is more able to utilize these resources. It might just be placebo, but again, I'm just telling you my testimony, what I found actually worked for me. It also helps stabilize blood sugar levels. And this can be very useful for people who have a low appetite. Something that you will find with with ginger, is that if you eat ginger after a big meal, 2 to 3 hours afterwards, you will be hungry again. Your stomach will be ready to intake all of that food again. And a trick that I have for people who struggle to eat their breakfast because they have low appetite in the morning, before you go to bed, you eat a few pieces of raw ginger and you will find that when you wake up, you will be hungry as fuck. I have had moments where I would wake up at like 6 a.m. from hunger. My stomach would be rumbling, even though I had a big meal just the night before, but I ate ginger before going to bed. And because all of that improved my insulin sensitivity, I was hungry super, super fast. This is really good for people who struggle to intake calories. This could actually be your best friend on a bulk. If you pair this with all of your meals, you will find that you will be able to intake more calories, but also that the calories are going to be best utilized by your body. Then there is also the mental focus. So I told you that garlic is a great stimulant because it keeps your energy levels high. I have not found that to be the case with ginger, but however, for the mental aspect and the ability to focus and to be like one track minded, this is really, really good. So again, instead of getting all of these pills and these things that apparently are going to hack your brain, those brain productivity drugs, just take ginger. You will find that you'll get the same benefits, but it's also going to be very healthy. And now for the last aspect, just like with this guy, these herbs all seem to really improve your libido for some reason, and this one is even worse than garlic, to the point that it can be even a bit uncomfortable, because just like this one sometimes wakes me up with hunger, I've been woken up by the guy downstairs and it's like, what the fuck is going on? Well, it's because this creates like a massive libido boost. And all of this, keep in mind, might just be from the blood flow, because they both improve blood flow and utilization of calories into the system and blood sugars into the system. So it might just be that, yeah, the blood is flowing everywhere and it's also flowing downstairs. If you're the type that has difficulties getting it up, maybe give that a try instead of buying Viagra or all of that bullshit. For the downsides, the first one is the smell. I think that it's a little bit disingenuous to claim that these make you smell and it's their fault. In a sense, it's because they help your body get rid of the garbage. So you sweat the garbage out of the body, but it does smell. And with ginger, it's especially true for the armpits. So for me, for example, it makes my armpits smell. It's not a bad smell like garlic, but it's sour. So it's not super attractive either. And because it improves digestion, it can also give you the runs. So let's say that you have been like backed up for a few days, eat 1 or 2 pieces before going to bed, and you will wake up with the shits. You will wake up just like emptying your bowels, I guarantee you. So that was for the downsides. Now for the frequency of ginger, I recommend starting with a small piece. So this, for example, is good, right? This every maybe 48 hours. So for me, it's been a year and a half, and now I eat 4 to 5 pieces that are almost that big every 48 hours. The reason why I say every 48 hours is because I cycle my garlic and ginger consumption, meaning that I eat my garlic on my upper body days to benefit from the pumps, and I eat my ginger on my lower body days because on my lower body days, I eat much more carbs. So I'm going to be able to utilize the insulin sensitivity thing to my advantage by shoving all of that into my body and utilizing all of that energy to do my heavy squats and my heavy pulls from the floor or hip hinges. This is my personal autistic arrangement. It's my structure, you don't have to follow it. I would recommend that you find your pace. Now, how do you pick your ginger in the store? I have a few tips for you guys. First and foremost, try to get it from Asian markets because they usually have the goods. They know how to store it. If you go to a Western store, a supermarket, they just fucking dump all of their ginger into a big bowl of ginger and it gets wet and moist. This needs to be kept dry because if it's not kept dry, you're going to get this. De la moisissure. And it's something that you want to avoid. I picked this one on purpose to show you guys what shit ginger looks like. There are other things that you have to look for. So ginger has to be hard. It should never be soft. It should look clean. So again, you don't want any green mold around it because it's a sign that it has not been stored properly. And you also want it to smell. So if you smell the ginger, you should be able to actually get that signature smell. If you're not getting it, break a piece. Like I did here, I broke a piece right there. And if you smell and you don't smell the smell of ginger, it's bad, put it back. A note from an age of the future. When you break that piece of ginger off to test the smell, also take a look inside the root. What you should see is a yellow color and you should see juice. If you don't see juice, this means that this is a dry piece of ginger. It has not been stored properly. You should not be buying it. Also, look at the quality of the ginger. If you break it and you see a lot of fiber and connection from the piece you broke, this is also a bad piece. It's going to be very hard to chew. There's not going to be much juice and therefore it's not that potent. You should put it down and get a better one instead. These are the things that you can do to know if you're dealing with something that is actually going to be potent. But how do you make it as potent as possible? Well, I have a few tricks for you guys. I have a way to prepare ginger so that we can ensure that it's easier to eat, to digest, it doesn't burn as much, and on top of that, it becomes more powerful. And I did not invent it. Asian countries have been doing that for a long time. We are going to pickle our ginger. And how do you do that? You do it either with juice or with honey. So with juice, you're going to take a recipient like this, so a glass recipient. You're going to cut your ginger, okay? You want to get rid of the skin always, and then you're going to cut it in small chunks and you're going to dump it in there. You don't want to wash the chunks, okay? You put it in there with the juice. Then you're going to take actual fruit juice and you're going to pour it in it with the chunks. I recommend cranberry juice, cherry juice, apple juice. I recommend pineapple juice. This is my big four. Grape juice also works. Once you are done, it's going to look like this. So this is what the final product looks like. You see the chunks inside and you see the juice. The juice is key because it's going to help soften your ginger without actually losing on any of the benefits because it's going to keep the juices inside. Never dump that juice, okay? This, it's a nectar of the god. Because all of the juice of the ginger that you cut down is going to mix with the cranberry juice that I used here. And now you get all of the benefits. And the way I eat it is I take a few chunks, put them in my mouth, bite them a few times, drink the juice to alleviate the burn, wash it around a bit, crush it with my teeth, and then I swallow it down. This is the perfect way to consume your ginger. Or you can pickle it and candy it with honey. So if you look at this, this is honeyed ginger. Preparation is also extremely simple. You cut down in chunks, so you see the chunks, the size of the chunks here, all right? Then you dump honey on top of it so that all of the chunks are covered, right? You see they're all covered. Then you mix with a bit of water so that it doesn't become solid, and you let it rest. With the honey, 10 to 15 days in the fridge before consumption, and with the juice, at least 4 days, and I recommend cycling the juice. So do a pour of juice, let it rest for 4 days, then drink the entirety of the juice and replace with a new batch of juice. That way you help break down the ginger and soften it. And you can start eating it after day 5 or 6. This one is almost ready. I'm going to start eating it today actually. And now you know how to prepare your ginger and you also know how to eat your garlic. You have all of the information you need to get a ton of benefits from these two magic herbs. I'm going to leave you the last warning. Do not buy garlic pills because garlic pills don't actually contain allicin, or if it does, it doesn't contain it in the form of the juice, so it's not as potent. And do not buy pickled ginger. The substance that they use, especially in Korean stores, to pickle the ginger lessens the amount of compounds you're going to get. The active compound of ginger is gingerol, and this is where most of the benefits comes from. Buy it yourself, prepare it yourself. It's always better raw, it's also cheaper, it is better all around. Don't let people sell you these things under the guise of selling you supplements. People have figured out that these are magical and are trying to make a quick buck off of your own laziness. Do not let that happen. I'm going to leave you with that. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.